So welcome. This is more for those online, but I'm Kalamali. This is Nara. And this week, our topic is Victory Demands the Courage of Conviction. And this is from our Rays of the One Light weekly commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita and our Bible. And it's by Swami Kriyananda based on the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda. So we'll listen to these words and they will guide the talk today. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda. Jesus Christ said in the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 10, "Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth, that is to say, that clingeth to his life, shall lose it. And he that loseth, in other words, that giveth up his life for my sake, shall find it." God tests the firmness of our faith. The sword described here is the sword of discrimination. The struggle Jesus describes is not a war against unknown enemies, but the struggle with our own attachment to all that is nearest and dearest to us, humanly speaking. Ultimately, it is a war against the ego itself and against anything with which we surround ourselves to bolster the ego's fragile sense of security. When Yogananda, as a boy, fled to the Himalayas to embrace a life of solitary meditation, he was apprehended by his older brother Ananta and brought home again and again. At a certain point, before he would accept defeat, he whispered to his friend Amar, his companion on the flight, "Let us slip away when opportunity offers. We go on foot to Rishikesh." But Amar, whose brother had accompanied Ananta, had turned pessimist, disclaiming any intention of continuing their adventure. Yogananda's memorable comment on Amar's refusal was, he was enjoying the familial warmth. The spiritual warrior rejects that familial warmth. Rather, they claim the whole universe as home. As the Bhagavad Gita puts it in the 14th chapter, unaffected by outward joys and sorrows, or by praise and blame, secure in their divine nature, regarding with equal gaze a clod of mud, a stone, and a bar of gold, impartial toward all experiences, whether pleasant or unpleasant, firm-minded, untouched by either praise or blame, treating everyone alike, whether friend or foe, free from the delusion that in anything they do, they are the doer. Such a one has transcended nature's triune qualities. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om. Om. Om.
The journey. I don't have a joke, but I've got a wonderful story to tell. Yesterday, we had a wonderful day actually. Kalamali's mother came out from California, and we actually organized well before to bring Olive, our service dog, to meet the people that
Oh.
brought her up in her first 18
puppy raisers for
puppy
the guide
raisers
dogs.
for the Guide Dogs Association. And so they bring up these dogs with certain responsibilities for 18 months, I think it was, and then they hand them over to the guide dog, and then they go through guide dog training. And they're all Labradors, and they're all different. We had a black lab and another little puppy golden
yellow
lab, and then we had Olive and
even a brown lab later.
And a little brown lab later. Absolutely gorgeous, and they
were
were all running around and we came out the back end of it. It was quite an interesting thing, because each one of these puppies raised by the same persons, they all had their own little personalities, and we got to meet these personalities and how they went out. And there were the main three was kind of the Olive, who was out there, but she was just this, her love language is play. So all she wanted to do was play. And she wanted to sniff and smell and do the puppy things, but like with the other dogs that she hadn't met. And then but if the minute we raised a ball and threw a ball, she would be off. And then there was another dog that she's a karma yogi. And then the absolutely devotional to play. And then we had this black Labrador who again just had attached to this puppy, and this puppy would snuggle into her, but she would do the puppy play. She'd bite her ears and bite her neck and bite her lip, and literally this tiny little dog would wrestle this big black Labrador to the ground and tumble her, and this black lab would play with that, and then play with Olive and chase the ball. And she'd put the ball in her mouth, and then she'd be like, yeah, whatever. And then next thing you know, the black lab would literally wander off. Just wander.
And they'd call her.
Look at the birds. And they would call her. And she would just be like, yeah, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Wander off, and
I'll be back.
She'd explore, and then if she wanted to, she'd just lay down. And it was so cute. This black Labrador would literally, like a princess, cross her front paws and just lay there, and you could just see her pondering the universe and with what was going on, until again this puppy lab would come in, or the owner would go and grab them and bring them back. And anyway, it was such a beautiful experience to see that they'd all been raised, and then every one of them would get taught certain rules. And so they all listened to these rules. They all had the hand signals for sit, drop,
wait.
And wait. And they would all, with all their personalities, abide these amazing rules. But one of the ones that was my favorite, and it reminded me of Divine Mother, but it was, they all had these personalities, but they all learned very on to come close. And there was no thing, but the come close meant that the dog would come in and really feel the energy of the owners, like really close. And it was such a beautiful thing to hear this come close. But of course, if you pulled a ball up in the air and threw a ball, Oliver would run off. And so they were always drawn away from this come close love language. And it reminded me of, our journey with Divine Mother. Divine Mother is always calling us, come close, come close. And yet we're always running off, chasing a ball, or doing something, or wandering and
getting distracted.
So it was such a beautiful experience yesterday for what was happening. So I thought, today was kind of interesting that we'd sort of had this journey of life. And, it reminds me a little bit of, I want us to go on a bit of a journey, because I feel like it's quite the lesson in life. I mean, we're all being told that we all have very, 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 very good karma to just want to know God. And that's just an amazing story. But so this is this innate thing that we're in this lifetime wanting to know God. And then, when you hear the stories from Rays of One Light in this journey, there's this big picture. And really, the only thing that's important in life is wanting to know God and reunite with God, come close. And we're all on this little part of merge.
Yeah.
And that's the closest you could be, if you can hear Divine Mother saying, come close, come close. And it's such an interesting thing. And it's always intuitive, because before this week I've been really trying to say to myself, when things change who I am in a negative way, I always keep thinking, doesn't matter. Does it really matter? Like what is the journey that we're on? What does this matter? And why would I let this thing that doesn't matter affect me? And when you hear Swami's story and everything that he talks about on his journey, he was like that. He was just so grounded in what was right and the truth behind everything, and his journey in serving his guru, our guru, on this path. And if you read everything that the tapasya that he went through to be free was incredible. And most of that tapasya was from a midlife onwards. It wasn't even his whole journey. It was like this element from, the 40 years of age onwards. And he speaks so beautifully the truth of every person that wronged him, every person that was on their journey. He got in behind them, their center, and viewed what their truth was and where they were from. And it's such an interesting thing. It's around this whole journey of living that truth. And, if I can throw a challenge out there, and we often do this at the end, but this week, every time something changes you or affects you, or you think something's happening, look at the big goal. What is the big picture? And say to yourself, is this important? But not just, it might be important to your work, it might be important to your family, but is the effect that it has on me really important? And who am I really trying to please? And if you read what Jesus was saying about the sword, and saying, like, everything around family, around friends, around all these people, nothing really is important. We have to slash that and just know that we're on this journey to find God and merge with God. And then it later talks about the fact that we, on our journey, still need to find those little bits of truth in all that we're doing. We can't stop living, and that was made evidence throughout Autobiography of Yogi on that journey. Master tried to go to the Himalayas. He wanted to be the cave yogi. That was his thing. And every time it was like, no, you've got a mission. You've got a job to do. You've got this. You've got to be a part of a brick of a pyramid to join where we need to go. And I thought it'd be a fun idea just to sort of paint that and highlight that as a group. And, I think that we all need to go on a journey to do Mount Everest. And I look at this just in a fable or a group thing. What would we need to do? What is the goal of Mount Everest? And I think the first thing, before we all decided to go to Mount Everest, the first and foremost thing that we all would need to do is believe that we could do it. So before we start any journey, we actually need to believe that we can do that. And to help us believe that we can actually do it, one of the things that I believe is going to be helpful would be to have someone that has already done it. So if we got someone like myself who's never done it, might be positive and have lots of energy and go, hey, come on, we're all going to go to Mount Everest. We're going to do it as a team. Yay, we can all do it. You'd all be like, yay, I love your enthusiasm.
Do you know what you're doing?
Where do I really believe that? But if we got someone that had gone to Mount Everest, may have taken them and had the journey and came and talked to us all and explained the process and how it went and how we all got together, guess what? I think we'd probably have a little more faith in the fact that we can do that journey. And we're so amazingly grateful, thankful that we have a guru. We have somebody that has made that journey. So we're on this journey to Mount Everest. We now have someone that's done Mount Everest before. They turn around and say to all of us, okay, what we need to do is it's going to take you 2 years to prepare, or it's going to take a while to prepare. We're going to do it as a team, but before we start, it's life or death. You need to know that you're either going to make it or you possibly could die, or we're going to have to cancel depending on what's going on. So we know that before we start, but we know we start having faith and belief that we can actually do that. Then we start looking at, well, what do we need to get there? What is it that we need to get to Mount Everest? So A, it's a trip, it's a journey. A, we know that there's things involved. So we know that there's altitude, we know that there's a level of fitness. So there's one element that we have to work on. We have to work on our fitness. So there's that kind of thing that we all have to work on. We know that it's going to be grueling and tough. So not only do we need fitness, but we need mental fitness. We need to know that this is going to be tough. We don't want someone saying that this is all going to be unicorns and rainbows. The view from the top's incredible. So we're all going to get there. Incredible. This is going to be tough. So we need mental fitness. Yeah. So how are we going to get mental fitness? We're going to do some training together. We're also going to be, we're also going to be helping each other. We're going to do this as a team, aren't we? So what does that mean? We've got Tracy down in Victoria. We've got Anju up in the Central Coast. We've got all these. We've got Raul. We've got, was a big cheerer, Raul, Paneet.
Well,
we've got all these
he
people.
moved.
They're all over the place. Amruta in Melbourne.
Eliza.
But it doesn't matter. We're still a team, aren't we? So we're all going to support and help each other, because along this journey, what's going to happen? We're all going to have doubts. We're all going to have to pass out, but we all know that we're going to do this. We believe we can do it. We're going to work on our fitness and we're going to do this. The biggest hurdle really is going to be the mental attitude, isn't it? It's going to be times where work's going to interfere with us, children, our health, our well-being are all going to interfere with this. But we're going to have all sorts of journeys along the road, but we're all going to help each other along, aren't we? So it's going to be during those period of times, because the most important element of this, we're all going to help carry each other along the path. We've got someone that's done it before.
Or push.
Yeah. And we've got a training regime, so we're all going to train to do it. So we know that that training regime's worked. This person that's guiding us has been there and done it, probably not just once, but several times. They've also gone through every trial and tribute that's ever been to go up and down that place. They're going to tell us now to probably start doing some training, get along that, but along the path, we're going to keep moving up the mountain. So we might do a few treks to Mount Kosciuszko in Australia, and we're going to do that together, where we're going to go up and down Mount Kosciuszko, get used to acclimatization. We're going to do all these kind of things. So we've got all these elements that we're going to start working towards doing it. But the goal is Mount Everest, and we've got someone that can guide us along the way. And we're going to support and help each other along this path and this journey, because we're all going to do it as a team. We know that the journey is going to be up and down. We're all going to have our own individual demons that we're going to have to fight and battle to get up and down there, but we're still going to achieve it. Along the way, we're going to support and help each other train by doing different elements. We're going to build up to the point of being able to achieve where we're going. It's the long haul. It's the long journey. In the meantime, every one of us still have to live our life, because we kind of have to pay for this trip. And it's not going to be cheap.
We shall be crowdfunding.
I'm going to throw one more other element into this. That is, we have an option. Our trainer, our guru for doing this journey, has done it several times and continuously done it. We might get motivation. We might get motivation, though, from someone that did it 50 years ago. They come in and tell us, hey, I did it, and it was awesome. I did it the real way. I did it with old cleats. I didn't have thermals. I didn't even use oxygen. I'm that tough. But I did it. You got to think, yep, that's fantastic. But guess what? this day and age, we're now got technology that gives portable oxygen. We've got lightweight, high-tech warm gear. We've got these heat packs. We've got these amazing tents. We've got all these things. Now this person that we've chosen as our guru has a look at it and they tell us their journey. But again, no one's taking away the fact that this person hasn't done Mount Everest before. But if we used the old school stuff and didn't use the technology, what would the benefit be? So we've kind of got this shortcut, haven't we? We've got this shortcut to help us along the way to get up Mount Everest. Doesn't say that someone else hasn't found Mount Everest before or climbed it and done it tough, and that they're an amazing feat of what they've done and had the right energy or the right time or the right space to do it. But we've got this path that now this guru that says to us, you know what, we've got this technology, we've got this ability to move, change, get up there safely, quickly, and on this path. We have now an opportunity to choose which way we want to go. We have old school, new school, we've got the technology that's out there, and it's kind of like us. And the reason why we're on this journey, and I think you all get it, but if you think about this path that we're on, we have these opportunities. We have the ability to move up and on, and we have that ability to choose where we want to be. We have an opportunity that we, as a community, can help and support each other on this path. And I think that's really, really important. We have that ability. We've got a guru. We have all these tools that the guru, because he's got the experience, he's experienced all the hardships. I believe the guru, he's died many, many, many times to get where he's been. He's found and united with Mount Everest in the divine. And we've got that ability to sort of take on that information and do those things. And if you think about it in our life, and I guess this is where we're kind of heading, is every day we can get tied up in our own journeys. We can get tied up in the things that we're doing. We can get tied up putting our energy towards finding that perfect job, finding that perfect house, finding that perfect part that goes on. And we can really go down a rabbit hole of where we're heading in this life. But every time we're doing that, and we're taking that as a priority over that journey to Mount Everest, could you imagine if every one of us went, oh, you know what, I've just got a new job now, I'm going to, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stay here, or no, I'm not going to train for the next couple of months just because I need to settle into these kind of things. That journey, then it's a choice. No one, that's that free will. But really,
less and less people show up to training.
Less and less people show up to training. That energy drops away as far as, hey, what are we doing here? So you can start saying we have a choice. And really, I feel that, this raise of one light is just this amazing journey. What is it all about if we really want to achieve liberation, or we really want that unity? We've been given a guru, which is absolutely, the karma involved in that is incredible in itself. We've been given amazing people all over the world that share that path. We've got this teamwork that every day you can jump online and find a good story, relate to something. You can then relate that story to the amazing things that are happening in your life and think, how is that helping me on this journey or not helping me on this journey? We have that free will of choice. But the freedom is incredible when you think that we have been given all the tools to get up Mount Everest. We've been given a team to help us get up Mount Everest. When you look at this yoga, or this change of energy that we're moving into, we've also been given insight into where we're heading. So we can choose to go the old leather shoes and the snow picks and the old rope that's not reliable, or we can start looking ahead and thinking, well, what technology, where is this new energy age going? And we can start tuning into where that's going and help each other support on this journey. We've been given Kriya Yoga, the secret passageway up to Mount Everest. we all have to recognize and realize that we still face the same challenges. They're not hidden from anything. It's not going to be unicorns and rainbows. But you know what? We've got the guru guiding us. We've got our amazing team and family to help us on this path that are all got the same goal. It's this amazing journey. And every day when we start looking at it, it's like Divine Mother at the top of Mount Everest is calling, come to me, come close, come close, you know? And let's not get distracted by the ball being thrown. It's fun. It's on the way. You also get pummeled on the way and all these other things, but we can have that choice. We can choose to keep that climbing Mount Everest at the forefront, finding, uniting.
Thank you, Nara. I just thought it would be fun to share that there's a really incredible booklet. It's a story from a spiritual renewal week that Jyotish shares, and it's called Life is a Pilgrimage. And so after the talk today, I'll try to put that in our resources for all of you. But essentially, it's the story of how we're all on this climb to the top of the mountain being freedom and merging back into bliss, Satchidananda. But he says, you know, when someone's taken that route, what else is about, you know, what else is in this journey that we can just add to the story that you started is that person comes back to show us the way. And now I just want to express something. Ananda is that for us. So all of us are receiving meditation technique. We're receiving the joy of service, but Ananda is us coming back to help others. So that's a big part of what Guruji and Swamiji have shared with us, helps us to reach the top. There's even a saying that you need to actually help 7 souls be free before you can be free. So if you start now with finding ways to help this vibration go out, the reason Swamiji named things the way he did, Expanding Light, the retreat center, why? It's because we have a light to give, to allow to flow through us, to shine out and expand out into this whole world. The consciousness is ever new, ever infinite. It just goes on and on and on. We have endless opportunities to give back.
Clarity.
And then I was just going to say, crystal clarity. What does that mean? It means to understand with perfect truth why we are here and to not lose sight of that pure clarity. It's a crystal clear that we're here to be victorious, to get to the top of that mountain. And the other thing that came through in Jyotish's story was that along the way, what do? You start letting go of things that you don't need. Every backpacker knows that. You start shedding stuff as you go to the top, because as you go on the journey, you realize you need less and less. And that represents our attachments. And one of the things that Jesus was speaking about is, it's not that you can't have love and serve the family or the ties to the world. It's that you want to be free while doing. Because we don't want baggage. Like, imagine if you're trying to get to the top and somebody kept pulling you back down, and then you had to retake all of those steps up. It would be very difficult. It would be very, very difficult. And, you know, it's the same thing with, what do you think you really need to make it to the top? Do you really need all that luggage? So those are the attachments to our furniture, our gardens, our cars, our bags, you know, all of those things, clothes. And so one of the things that, you know, we're shown is that path of renunciation. And Kriya Yoga as the, you know, the jet airplane route, well, in this case, it's the one that the people that have made it to the top know will work. And that when there's a storm, or when there's a avalanche, or when the weather's not good, there's little places along the way that you should pause, rest, and regroup, and then make sure you can make it the next step. So just thinking about this as you go about your week, and how can you make it to the top? What is it that you need to take with you on your journey? And what can you start to free in your heart? Because essentially, to be victorious is to be free in the heart and to be close to Divine Mother, and just, visualize being closer and closer and closer and closer to her, and the stillness that you start to feel because nothing rattles you anymore. Nothing scares you anymore. You have complete faith in Divine Mother's plan for you. You don't feel like you have to control things. You don't feel like you're in charge.
And the more you invest in that, the less you want to do at the other things. So if you're investing that journey to Everest and you've already put your money and your training and all that, it's like you'll want less of the other things.
So we'll end today with those thoughts, and we hope that each of you can bring these, these thoughts into your spiritual life so that you can be successful and you can, find what it is that will bring you to your goal. And we look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Don't forget, tomorrow morning we meditate together. Next week, we will be starting a seclusion. Nara and I are going into a seclusion, our first one. So for a week, we will have different people covering the different activities, but we will be away. But things will go on. The help on the journey. And some of you know how important seclusion is to recharge. And it's a really good time because we have the center now. We have a lot of, opportunities for expansion. So it's really important to get back to being close to Divine Mother so that then when we go chase the ball, we know where we're headed and what the purpose is. So we really are grateful for each of you coming today. It really makes everything really more powerful. The presence of the masters is stronger with each of you here. So we really, really are grateful for your presence, and send you all of our love and blessings for the week. We will sign off for now, but we will see you tomorrow, if not Wednesday, if not Friday. Blessings.